Evening, I'm Diana Fairbanks. The property happens to be owned by a town worker. Could it be a case of favoritism? News 4's Luke Moretti is uncovering new information in tonight's special assignment. Luke.
The News 4 viewer contacting us, she wanted to know why drainage work was done by town highway workers on private property. We went out looking for answers. The highway boss admits the work was done and tells me it has nothing to do with favoritism.
It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Town of Lewiston resident Patty Mazer is talking about a drainage job that was done on private property by the Town of Lewiston Highway Department.
This is the drainage work. You see how they put in all kinds of piping.
Mazer took pictures of the job site here on Hillside Drive. In one of the photos, you can see a piece of equipment with the Town of Lewiston seal on the back.
We all have private property here, and if they're going to do it here, well, what about the rest of us?
From time to time, heavy water running down from the escarpment above Hillside Drive and where Mazer lives on Creek Road Extension has led to drainage problems in yards. Mazer claims that she's been asking the town for help only to be turned down. But when she found out about drainage work being done on this private property, she began asking questions.
I don't think it's fair. It's not fair that the deputy clerk's house gets done and no one else's.
You heard right. The drainage work in question was done on private property, owned by Town of Lewiston Deputy Clerk Donna Garfinkel. Garfinkel says there was an issue with water going over the road and that she informed the town's highway superintendent.
I think that if it not only benefits that one individual and makes things safe for other people, I don't understand why there's a problem.
I've become aware of it. I have to have some way to address it. I simply can't ignore it.
Douglas Janice is the Town of Lewiston Highway Superintendent. He makes no apology for the drainage work that was done over the winter on Garfinkel's rental property.
Was they just installed a drain back there and some pipe. You can see these catch basins here are interconnected. They brought that down and piped it into the existing drainage pipe here. And all it did was it kept the water from running across their lawn, running down this edge onto the highway itself.
Janice tells me the water had been flowing down this road into Garfinkel's backyard, out to the front, and then over Hillside Drive. It's been a factor, he says, especially after last year's mild winter. He sent us these photos showing water on the road, which he says can freeze and turn into a sheet of ice.
Yes, I heard about it. Yes, he did do it. Yes, it was discussed at a board meeting. And it's done.
Town of Lewiston Supervisor Stephen Ryder, a former highway superintendent himself, says the town board authorizes the amount of money Janice is allowed to spend per year and says it's up to Janice, a separately elected official, to decide which projects get done.
Was the work done reimbursed? Was the town reimbursed for the work done, or is that something the taxpayers of this town will bear?
The taxpayers will bear.
Do you know how much this job cost?
No, sir. No, sir, I don't.
Do you?
He's budget. He has his own budget.
When we asked Janice, he was not sure about the exact amount spent.
Oh, I'm going to guess $400 or $500 is a rough idea.
$400 or $500 job.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But only days after this interview, Janice followed up with an email stating, "My estimate of the costs may have been low by a few $100s. We do not individually track any of the small jobs we do. I can't give you a more accurate estimate than I already have."
Was she getting preferential treatment over?
She's not getting any preferential treatment. By the same token, all right? I'm not going to deny her the same services that every resident would have just because she happens to work for the town.
Last year, the state comptroller's office released an audit of the highway department and found that the town installed drainage improvements that were unnecessary or not the town's responsibility.
Taxpayers need to have some assurance that their tax monies are being used for the public's benefit and are not being used to benefit any individual inappropriately.
The comptroller recommended that the town board should require prior approval for any drainage work on private property and do the work only when there is evidence of a general benefit to the town.
We've done a lot of work on private property, but it's supposed to be to support the whole community. And sometimes that's just the way some of the storm channels and some of the water channels are. They go through private property.
But despite the state controller's recommendations, Janice made the decision to do the work on the Garfinkel property and did not seek board approval. He says he did it to protect the highway and to keep ice from forming on the road.
Something like this being a safety issue, no doubt in my mind, it's beneficial to everyone.
It's better to get the collective wisdom rather than one individual deciding how this is going to look, just for, if nothing else, for the appearances. Right, and the fact that this was done for a town employee just, adds to the problematic nature of it.
Still, Patty Mazer says she's been asking the town for years to help with drainage problems around her house, only to be turned down.
So I question, why did they work on Donna Garfinkel's house? Why did they do all her drainage for thousands of dollars, and why can't they do mine and my neighbors?
Well, that's because Patty Mazer's situation is different, according to the highway superintendent. He says the road in front of Mazer's property is a state highway, not the town's responsibility, and he's not aware of any issue of road flooding or public safety in that area. Diana, the town supervisor, we talked about this afterwards, and he said from this point on, any private work that's done, they want some board approval, so they want the highway department to come to the board to at least let them know what's going on.
All right, thank you, Luke. Good questions answered.